Today we are having another chapter. The name of the chapter is Levels of Consumer Decision Making and a Model of Consumer Decision Making. This is a very small chapter. So let us start with consumer decision making. What is consumer decision making? It's a process by which consumer identify their needs, collect information, evaluate alternatives and make purchase decision. These actions are determined by psychological and economic factors and are also influenced by environmental factors such as culture, group and social values. Now if we consider regarding levels of consumer decision making, there are three levels such as extensive problem solving, limited problem solving and routinized response behavior. So there is a continuum of consumer involvement, or you can say continuum of levels of consumer behavior. It starts from routine response behavior. In the middle we have limited decision making, and the last part we have extensive decision making. Here it can also be related with involvement of consumer, like it starts from less involvement to high involvement. Now what is routine response behavior? Here the customer or the consumer have very little involvement in selection process. They may stick with only one brand and they have a quick decision. Frequent purchase low cost goods are the main type of goods purchased in routine response behavior. So in this type of goods we find that the decision is also made very quickly, and a person may be sticking to only one brand because these are very less important goods and are purchased on a daily basis or monthly basis or in a frequent basis. Examples are like soap, shampoo, etc. Next comes limited decision making. Here it is slightly more higher level compared to the routinized decision making or routinized level. Here what happens, moderate involvement is done in selection process. Here purchasing process is little bit shorter but more than the routinized response behavior. Here there are few evaluation of alternatives brands, such as when you go for purchase of clothing or cosmetics, we try to give some time to find out whether the clothing suits us or not, or sometimes we find whether the cosmetics will hamper our skin or not. So the last levels of decision making is the extensive decision making. Here we have high level of involvement, and the goods are basically costly goods like cars, like real estate, etc., where it takes a very long time to decide. So evaluation of many brands are done here because they have to find out the correct alternatives, because once the purchase is being made you cannot return or you cannot have a repurchase because lots of costs are involved in such purchase. So examples are like buying a car or laptops, etc. But one funny thing is that it depends on the person's economical power, that whether he is going for extensive decision making or limited decision making or routinized response behavior. To a poor person, a routine response behavior may also involve high involvement. For a very highly economically strong customers, an extensive decision making may also be converted to limited decision making or may be converted to routine response behavior, because a rich person may purchase a car even yearly or maybe even monthly. If he doesn't bother whether he does a mistake in purchase of the car or etc. So when he purchases the car, if he don't find it is suitable, he may sell it and purchase another one. So for a rich person, a extensive decision making can also be converted to limited decision making or routine response behavior. Last, we discussed regarding a model of consumer decision making. Here in the diagram we find a simple model of consumer decision making. It involves external influences and also it involves internal factors and processes. Now what are the external influences? Environmental factors and marketing mix, such as social, cultural environment, product, price, place, promotion. These particular factors are not under the hands of the customer or the consumer. So that is why it is known as external influences. The customer, where he belongs, the environment he stays, The socio-cultural environment is totally not under him, is not under the control of the consumer. Similarly, the product that he is purchasing, the quality of the product, the features of the product are also not dependent on the consumer or are not under the control of consumer. In the same way, price that is being put in the product, the place where the product will be delivered, and the promotion that is being made, all things are under the control of marketer or the company, not the consumer, and that is why these are known as external influences. Now, what are the internal factors and processes? The psychological factors of the customers, like perception, motivation, learning, attitude, and personality, these are totally internal to the customers. The way he thinks, the way he gets motivated, the way he has previous experiences and learning, the attitude he possesses, and the personality he displays, all things are coming under his internal factors. Now, while doing the decision making, there is high involvement or low involvement. In high involvement, the problem recognition is there, but information search is more, and evaluation of alternatives takes a longer amount of time, and finally the purchase is being made. But in case of low involvement, problem recognition is there, but there is very little or no information search, and finally the purchase is being made. So out of that, experience is generated and post purchase evaluation is done. Again, from post purchase evaluation, it gives a perception or motivation or learning or attitude development or personality development. So in a simple model, we have both external influences and internal influences which helps us to purchase a product. So here comes the end of the chapter, the levels of consumer decision making and a model of consumer decision making. Thank you.